Hello and welcome. My name is Dries, and today we're looking at a SpeedSculpt video, this time with commentary. I am going to be doing Rachel by Ramón Nuñez. Sorry, I didn't do any Spanish, but he made a sketch last week, and I tried to do once a week. I tried to make a speed sculpt just to practice various art styles. Usually I try to find something I can do in an hour, and between an hour and a half. This took an hour and a half. So yeah, Rachel. So this is how I go about it. I open up Zbrush, and usually I will start a block out like I showed you, with some basic primitives. Then I will move them into position, and then I try to match my reference just to make sure I'm aligned properly, like so. But yeah, I think it's a good practice to try and practice different art styles. If there's something you think you can make, something a style you like in 2D, there's no real point trying to solve something already done in 3D. But yeah, it's good practice, because if a client comes to you one day and says and gives you a concept in an art style you don't know, and you have to do it because it's your job, it's good practice to try and mimic other people's style as often as possible. That way, when a job comes to you, hopefully, you'll have the patience. You'll have the you won't stress about it, essentially. So yeah, blocking out the face in two parts, the upper skull and the lower face, and make them meet at the corner of the eyes. Then I added the nose. I could have sculpted the nose from the just could have added, using the clay build-up brush, I could have made the nose pop from the other base mesh, but it's usually faster. You can use as many sub parts to make your block out. Usually try to keep them as low as possible to make things more manageable. Like so. Here I am. I duplicated the eyes, and then I'm going to separate them into two polygroups, to dynamesh them, and that's going to give me the eyelids. So it's a bit easier to have them separated. But that's really up to you. You could easily just sculpt the eyes, as long as you have the eyeballs as a separate subtool. You can easily just sculpt the volume from the head base mesh. Now I have put everything back together. Now we're sculpting. Oh no, it's not together. Using hard polish to define some planes. trying to look at your model from any angle. And if you use the clay buildup brush, you can work on multiple polygroups at the same time. Always try to jump around and see your model from as many angles as possible. Then check against your ref. Usually I advise people to stop comparing to the ref as soon as possible because 2D isn't always very accurate. So it's very difficult to perfectly match a 2D drawing. There I've merged everything. So now I'm just gonna clean up every transition. So yeah, if you can leave the concept as soon as possible and just trying to nail the feel, it should be fine. There wasn't overly confident because I think the 3/4 view works pretty well, and the front view works well, but looking at from the profile seems a bit odd. So that's why I want to go back to the original concept all the time. But see here, I'm not looking at it. I built up some confidence. See there? That jaw is a bit too much. For my speed sculpts, I usually just stay in Dynamesh because it's just practice. But for this one, I needed to move some big forms, so I Z-remeshed. I duplicated the subtool, then Z-remeshed, and projected all the details back onto my Z-remeshed model. So that way I can go back to a lower resolution model, like so, and move the big shapes a lot easier. Here I'm comparing again. I find my own lack of faith disturbing. Trying to define some of those planes, those landmarks, using the Damien Standard brush. Now that I have checked them against the ref, I'm going to refine them, clean them up. That neck is really bothering me. Cleaning the planes of the eyes. The nose bridge. The nostrils, not the nose bridge. Working on that neck. using pinch to bring out some shapes. Then I'm going to start and block out the hair, because it doesn't really look like Rachel unless you have the hair done. At some point it's going to slow down a bit because I'm going to go and fetch some other reference from the internet. Like so. Trying to be a bit more faithful to the concept. Now we're just going to clean that up. And we're almost done. At that point, I'm thinking I might just export everything and bring it to Max and make a cool render, just for fun. So I'll be doing the shirt, and I'll be redoing the eyelashes and everything inside of Max. So this is just for reference. Duplicated the eyes and just sculpt them into place, just to have some visual reference of where the eyelashes would be. Using clip curve, removing all that excess geometry. Still a lot of excess, but nobody will see it. I'll be redoing the eyes as well, so no need to spend the whole time on those. Cleaning up, fixing those ears. They're still pretty broken up. Yeah, they're completely broken. Completely broken ears. Don't look. Look away. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna pop a little picture of the final image. But yeah, the entire thing is now done. The purpose was to show you that you should try and practice as many styles as possible, as often as possible. Working in someone else's style forces you to learn to see things in a different way, and that you should always practice. And I'll see you guys in another one. Cheers.